Hello everyone, first of all, thank you for watching this video. Today we are going to understand a very important concept of Elastic Block Store, which is one type of storage offered by AWS. What are the benefits and how it is being used? We'll try to explore Elastic Block Store today. So it has various types of volumes. We'll go to that. Before that, let me tell you about this. So EBS, they can be used as boot volumes. They can be used for the databases, dev test environment. You could attach it to an ec2 instance, and then you could store data, logs, files, images, etc. So those kind of stuff you can do it with EBS. It is also kind of a network storage where you attach it. It's an external to ec2 instance. So it is like you can attach to one instance and then you can remove it from that instance, and then you can attach it to another instance, the same EBS, without creating a new one or deleting or something like that. The other important advantage that you get with EBS is you can take the backups, basically the snapshots. You can take point in time backup, incremental backups, and then you can restore it either in the same AZ or region. This is the flow that you see generally. You attach it to EBS EC2 instance, then there is a snapshot, you back up to S3, and then you can create a new volume out of it and attach it to new EC2 instance. So this is the advantage. One more thing with EBS, it is limited to an availability zone. Okay, so suppose I have two AZs, AZ1 and AZ2. If I have created EBS in AZ1, then that EBS cannot be used in AZ2. Just keep that in mind. Plus, most of them, like generally we use gp3, they are single attached storage. So say I have instance 1 and my EBS volume 1, I have attached it to instance 1. Now I launch another instance 2. If I try to attach the volume to instance 2, it is not allowed, as multi-attach is not allowed. Multi-attach is allowed in few volume types, not all of them. So which is IoT, io1, all these, and these are very expensive. Most of the times we use this volume type gp3. gp2 is like legacy SSD version. We'll come to the volume types, but just keep this in mind. Very important points. EBS is limited to AZ. Second, you cannot do multi-attach. You can do multi-attach only in some volumes, not all of them. Plus, you can take backups, which is called as snapshots, and you can restore it to new volumes. Then you can encrypt the volume as well using the AWS Key Management Service. So these are the details about the Elastic Block Store. Now let's look into the volume types. First one is general purpose SSD gp3. This is the latest one and more highly used. Most of the workloads use this one. So if you look at the storage capacity, it starts from 1 GB and up to 16 terabytes, which is a huge number. Then the IOPS. See, the IOPS and throughput concept, I had explained this in one of my videos. you can watch that. Mm, that way you can understand why this is important and for which workloads IOPS is important and which workloads throughput is important. Here you can see it kind of hits 3000 IOPS and up to 125 megabits per second. Now you can provision with extra cost up to 16,000 IOPS and 1000 megabytes per second. Most of the time you would see people using gp3. gp2, it is legacy volume type. It was basically enhanced to gp3. So most of the time you should be using gp3. The difference is in the IOPS. So it only allows 3 IOPS per gigabyte. So there is a limitation in terms of IOPS. So if you want to hit the maximum IOPS, you will have to increase the volumes size basically. So that's the problem with GP2. Now coming to io2 Block Express, this is very high performance SSD. So these all are SSDs. We'll come to the HDD later on. So io2 is SSD and supports up to 64 terabytes, and the IOPS number goes up to 256,000 IOPS, which is a very big number, and throughput is 4000 megabytes per second. So it's like sub milliseconds latency. So that's the advantage, but it comes with a cost. And then there is provisioned IOPS. So here you can provision. It's similar to io2 Block Express. Now most of the time you would see people going into these. IO1 is also kind of a legacy system or volume type. So these are for the very low sub millisecond applications, very critical business applications. Now coming to the HDD types, we have st1, sc1, magnetic. Now st1, you can use it for data warehouses, log processing, etc. It supports up to 16 terabytes, and the IOPS is 500 IOPS and up to 500 megabytes per second throughput. So here, in this case, our focus is mainly on throughputs. And similarly here, fold HDD, where you would store your archive files, repositories, and all those stuff. And it provides up to 250 megabytes per second. So these are obviously low cost options, but with decent throughput. And magnetic is again with very low throughput, very lowest cost storage, especially for the archive use. These are the different volume types. You try to understand the concept of IOPS and throughput. This will help you in deciding which volume type should we decide. It select basically. Generally, it's SS3, but for data warehouses, you can go with st1, and for infrequent accesses, but attached to your EC2 instance, you can use fold HDDs, and for the lowest cost storage with all the backups and all those stuff, you could use this magnetic volume. I'll just show you in where is the option to create the volume. If I go into the AWS console, first go to EC2, and in the left hand side, you will get this option of Elastic Block Store. And there is volume here. You can create volume. See the GP3, GP2, IO1, IO2, which you have seen, right? and there is cold HDD, throughput optimized magnetic standard. You can choose the size of the volume, IOPS that you need, and the IOPS and throughput would be limited based on the types. Okay. Availability zone. This is very important because your EBS volume limited to availability zone. And if you want to create the snapshot, and encryption is also allowed. You can store the data in an encrypted form. So this is how you can create a volume.